Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for the pilot of Turn. Now, Turn was a show that I was really looking forward to because one of the things I will say this year is that one of the things that I will say is that there are a lot of pilots that have come out recently that have not been that good. This was one that I was convinced was going to be really, really good. Why? One, it's on AMC, which is pretty much expected to be an amazing show. You got Breaking Bad, Mad Men, Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, sorry, Walking Dead. I just epically messed that up. I'm sorry, guys. But Walking Dead, those three shows, and you expect all their shows to be amazing because of those three shows they have. And I was really looking forward to this show. They showed a lot of advertisements for it. It looked like a very strong show. And as it turns out, I really like this pilot, Was it perfect? No, there were a couple things that I thought, might need to be a little bit improved on. But overall, this pilot was pretty much, there wasn't really anything wrong with it. Definitely one of the best pilots I've seen in a while. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of the show. And I think it's going to be a really good show. My only fear is that this show might be canceled. Now, why do I think that? It's because, I'm thinking this because, the reason that I'm thinking the show might be canceled is because it's up against so much. It's up against Game of Thrones. It's up against Resurrection. It's up against Good Wife, which my parents watch. They love that show. Cosmos on Fox, which I also heard is really good. It's up against so much, a shit ton of shows. And because of that, I'm worried that people are not going to watch this show. I personally am not going to watch this show. When it's on, I'm going to watch it on DVR because Game of Thrones is on at that time. So, that's kind of my worry. I myself, I'm kind of being hypocritical about it, but still, I'm worried that I hope someone does continue to watch the show. My only other question is, I don't know how long this show can go, because this show is about the American Revolutionary War, and it's basically about Abraham Woodhull and him being a spy for the United States, spying on the Confederates. That's what he's doing. Kind of like an Americans kind of scenario, except very, very different than that, because this is like much more patriotic. My only complaint is that, I don't know how long this is gonna last, and we're gonna talk about that, but let's just get to the episode, because I really, really, enjoyed this premiere. I thought it was really good. So, we start off, and basically where we are is it's 1776 in, Long Island, and Abe Woodhull is at his farmhouse. His son is learning to walk. That's a very cute scene there, you see his son learning to walk, and he tells his wife, Mary, that the war should be over by Christmas, and as we know, that was not the case. It does continue after that, so I'm wondering, how that's going to come back into play. I'm thinking that's actually going to be the finale, is it's Christmas, and he's going to be like, I was wrong, the war's not over. I think that's going to be interesting to see if that happens. But in the aftermath of a battle in New Jersey, and this is really intense, right away, really intense scene, a Queen's Ranger stabs fallen Continental soldiers, to ensure they're dead. Basically, this person is just randomly stabbing people. They're dead, but just to make sure they're dead, they're stabbing them just to make sure that, they're dead. To confirm that. And among the fallen is Ben Talmadge, who plays Possum. And when the Ranger gets to Ben kills the Ranger, takes the Ranger's bonnet and coat, and begins to walk away. And Robert Rogers sees Ben escaping and shoots at him, but Ben flees, getting shot in the process. And in the kitchen of a colonial house, Ben meets with his superior, General Charles Scott, and insists that his men were ambushed because the enemy knew they were coming, and Ben requests permission to hire a spy. But General Scott denies his request. So, Abe tills his cabbage field and discovers maggots destroying his crop. So he goes to visit Strawn Tavern to pay off parts of his debt to Selah Strawn, the bar's owner. And Anna, Selah's wife, enters and is pleased to see Abe, not Abe Lincoln, Abe Woodhull. This was way before Abe Lincoln. She invites Abe and his family to dinner, but Abe declines, saying he'd be shamed for her to cook for his family while in, arrears. So John Robeson, a Tory oyster farmer, happily reads an account in the Royal Gazette of a retreat by Washington to a room full of redcoats. No, Sela, who's not a redcoat, walks in, and he orders Robeson to leave because, you know, they're really kind of insulting him, and he feels insulted. He's like, you're insulting my wife, you're insulting, you know, you're insulting everything that matters to me, and you need to leave. And they struggle briefly. Beer is spilled on Captain Joyce, who angrily tackles Sela. Abe attempts to intervene, but is stopped by Lieutenant Simcoe, who puts a pistol to the back of Abe's head, and Joyce then throws Abe to the floor and kicks him in the head. You know, again, as I said, this was only like the first 15 minutes of the episode, and it was already really intense, and I really like that about the show, about how intense they are. They know what a good AMC show should do, is that it should be really intense. So, inside the Sidakut Church, who has been converted into a military barracks, Major Hewlett orders Joyce to return to England for a court-martial in the tavern incident, and Judge Richard Woodhull, Abe's father, visits Hewlett to explain his son's role in the bar brawl. He reveals his son was once engaged to Anna Strawn, and quotes Shakespeare to illustrate his son's romantic heart. I thought that was interesting, when we found that out. I didn't know that was gonna happen, but, Hewlett is impressed, and the two men bond over their mutual love of the humanities. Basically, what this is implying is that Abe's wife, he doesn't really love. He likes Anna, but he's with Mary, so how does he feel for Mary? You know, we don't really know. But that night off, Major Hewlett's orders Simcoe releases Abe. Sela, however, remains in custody. Back at the Woodhull farm, Richard warns Abe to stay away from people who chose the wrong side, such as the Strawns and Talmadges, and he does not listen to his father. He basically tells him, this is bigger than you can't do this. And, you know, the whole show, everyone's telling him, you should not be doing this, you should not be doing this. And he doesn't listen to anybody. Abe later visits Sela in the stockade and advises him to bribe his way off the Jersey prison ship once he's there. Sela tells Abe he can repay his debt by looking after Anna, but Abe insists he'll repay in cash. That night, Abe salvages some healthy cabbages in his field. The next morning, slaves find the dead body of Captain Joyce, who was involved in the tavern brawl, and his throat is slit, so he is dead. Yeah, I know, they already killed off a potential big character in the first episode, so that was interesting. Two redcoats visit Rogers on his armored sloop and give the mercenary his payment. They notify him that Major John Andre wants to meet. Rogers sees Andre watching from a window on shore, and Rogers meets with Andre, who asks him to ambush a rebel safe house in Connecticut. Rogers questions the sources of Andre's intel and says he'll only do it for double the price. Andre refuses to pay, and Roger declines the safe house ambush. So Abe pulls his boat out of the water on the Connecticut shoreline and warily looks for a black market trader. To his surprise, he's met by his childhood friend, Caleb Brewster, and I really like this scene. You know, he's met by Caleb Brewster, who you can tell they were really good friends back in the day, and he's been away for years on a whaleboat in Greenland. They catch up, then settle on a price for Abe's cabbage. And they're kind of, you know, reminiscing about the, you know, the old days when they were kids, and I really enjoyed that scene, because you could clearly see that they were friends back in the day, and I enjoyed seeing that a lot. Simcoe has been made captain in the wake of Joy's death, shows up at Strawn Manor and asks Anna about Abe's whereabouts. He then makes advances on her. After she rebuffs him, he informs her he's been beleaguered at the manor, and while rowing back across Long Island Sound, Abe, and this was amazing, I didn't expect this to happen at all. Abe is intercepted by a pirate sloop trolling the waters, and he gets arrested for this. So, Ben visits Abe in jail. A surprise, Abe hugs his childhood friend. We learned that Ben and Abe were also friends back in the day. And he pleads for his help, and Ben demands the name of Abe's illegal trade contact, but Abe stays mum about it. He doesn't tell him anything. But Ben then asks Abe to spy for the rebels, because as Ben said, they needed some sort of a spy, and he thinks Abe is the perfect person to do it. So Abe balks as he realizes the pirate sloop was a clever ruse to recruit him, but he doesn't say no. Ben then lets him go. So then back on Long Island, Abe pulls his boat on shore and immediately buries his money, pretending he was mugged. He cuts himself and approaches the road. He sees Robeson and calls for help, and a suspicious Robeson runs away. So Abe hobbles into town with a fake limp and notices everyone's eyes on him. Robeson reappears and brings Simcoe and the Redcoats to Abe, and there's this really great line there where he's like, I've been mugged. He said, well, you're about to be hanged. And that was definitely pretty big. So Simcoe brings Abe to the church where Richard and Hewlett await. When Hewlett demands to know where Abe has been since Joyce's death, Abe admits he was with the enemy. And he explains that he was mugged by pirates while trading on the black market, and Hewlett sends Abe home, but asks to meet that evening to discuss his captors' identities. So outside the church, Simcoe warns Abe that he's still a suspect in Joyce's murder, and then at Strawn Manor, Abe sneaks into the barn and signals to Anna, and here we get a very interesting scene with Anna and Abe. Anna, he gives Anna and the cabbage money to repay his debt, then tells her about Caleb and Ben. He says, Ben tried your crewman as a spy, don't worry, I won't do what he says. And Anna actually is telling him to do it. He's pretty much, because everyone in the episode is saying, don't do it. But she's the first person to say, why not? And she says, what are you waiting for? What more do they need to take from us? And, I really like this because she really does play a pivotal role. I didn't think the female characters were gonna have much to do, because as we know, back in that time, in the 1700s, all the women did were just be housewives, but she really is the one that's encouraging him to do this, to be a spy for them, and she's saying do it, and I thought that was definitely very interesting that she was the one who told him this. So that night, Abe dresses for dinner with Hewlett, whatever you're doing, and Mary, his wife, is saying, whatever you're doing, don't do it, and, he says, we can't afford to lose, she says, we can't afford to lose you, and Abe dines with his father and Hewlett at Abe's childhood home, and Richard proposes that rather than imprisoning Abe, they have him swear a public oath to the crown. Hewlett embraces the idea, then asks Abe for the names of his enemy captors, and Abe provides several names. Richard grows suspicious of the names, but remains silent. Hewlett then mentions that Simcoe will be raiding a Connecticut safe house, so after dinner, Abe sneaks into Hewlett's room, finds a dispatch from Andre. Using a card and grill he finds with a letter, he deciphers a message: Rebel Safe House, Connecticut, Megs Harper, show no quarter. So then Abe sprints over to Strawn Tavern, pulls Anna inside the cellar, and he asks her to hang a black petticoat from her laundry line as a signal to Ben that he has intel for the rebels. Abe says he will his plan will get rid of Simcoe, who continues to harass Anna, and he basically plans on killing Simcoe. That's what he wants to do. He wants to kill him. And as Simcoe enters the room, Anna distracts Simcoe by flirting with him, and they leave the room together. Anna hangs a black petticoat on her peg line, and, the slaves, the people that are working for them are looking at them like, what the hell are they doing? What the hell is she doing? And, Abe arrives at a design meeting and is surprised to discover that Caleb is in Ben's courier. And basically what we find out is Caleb explains that Abe passed their test when he refused to turn him over to Ben, and Abe insists his spying is a one-time deal. I kind of have a feeling that it's not a one-time deal, because that's what the show is all about. On the Seculate, on the Cedar Village Green, Abe places his hand on the Bible. Here we get that very big speech that we saw in all the promos, where he's like, I, Abraham Woodhull, solemnly swear to do this, this, and this, and Abe places his hand on a Bible held by his father and publicly swears his allegiance to King George III. And meanwhile, Simcoe leads a squad of redcoats to the Connecticut safe house. They charge inside only to find it empty. A moment later, rebels ambush them. A wounded Simcoe writhers on the ground. Caleb kicks him unconscious. And so now Simcoe's dead. And Ben places his ranger bonnet on a redcoat corpse as a warning message to Robert Rogers. And Caleb expresses guilt over letting Simcoe live, given that Abe's solar crest was for them to kill Simcoe. And he says, we will after we pull the truth out of him. So he's not dead yet, but he's pretty close to dying. You just have to get the truth out of him. And then the very end of the episode, I was very interested in this. After the crowd who witnessed Abe's oath breaks up, Richard tells Abe he knows he lied about the names of his rebel captors. And he says, I'm done protecting you. And as Abe watches his father walk off to meet Hewlett, Abe's son Thomas takes his first steps before steadying himself by grabbing Abe's leg. So that was pretty much the show, and I was really impressed by this premiere. One of the things that this premiere did really well is I was not bored with it. There have been a couple of premieres, like Crisis and The 100 that I've been reviewing that are good, but this one I think was the best out of all of them. It really stepped it up a bunch, so, you got some great things going on there. And that was, what happened in the episode. But let's get to the performances. This show, the one thing that this show does really well is they have really strong actors portraying these roles. They really pick some great actors, and I think they did a great job with that. Our main star is Jamie Bell, who is always great in what he's done. I've always really liked his acting. I don't remember exactly what I saw Jamie Bell in. I think I saw him in one movie called The Eagle. but I know he's been in other stuff, and I know he's a good actor, and he's really, really good here. You know, definitely, he's really good. I don't know if he was actually had an accent in real life, so I'm a little thing there. He might want to maybe, create an American accent, because I don't know if Abe Woodhull, had an accent in real life, but if he did, nevertheless, he still did a great job. He was really great in that role, and he's definitely one of the best in the show. Then you have Seth Numrick as, Benjamin Talmadge, you know, the guy who makes him Spy. He also is great in the show. I thought he gave a really great performance. I was really impressed by him. He was definitely one of my favorites, from the start. I saw him when they did the, behind-the-scenes look, and I'm like, this guy's gonna be a good actor. I can see that right now. And he really was great. Then you have Heather Lind as Anna, who I think is, a really great character, in my opinion. I like where she's going. I like that her and Abraham kind of had their own little, love there. And by the way, Abraham Benjamin, Anna Strawn, Caleb Brewster, Richard Woodhull, they were all real people. Most of the people on the show were real people. Caleb Brewster as well, great character. One of the great things I love about his character, you know, he definitely is one of the best characters on the show. I love that, you know, the friendship between him and Abraham. I love that Benjamin, Abraham, and Caleb were all friends, and they're kind of now in this war, and I really like seeing that. I'm definitely interested in seeing where that's going to go. And the only other person I do want to give credit to is Kevin McNally as Richard Woodhull, you know, his father. He did a really great job as well. I thought he was fantastic in the show. And, yeah, so I'm really interested in seeing where they're going to go with the show. I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen now in the next episode. And yes, I will continue to watch, definitely, because I was very impressed by this premiere. But let me know what you guys thought of this premiere. What's going to happen now? Is Abe going to continue to be a spy? I think he will. What'll happen between Anna and Abe? Do you think Anna really do you think Abe really loves Mary, or does he like Anna? We don't really know what's going on there. Who's the best actor in the show? Do you think the show will last? As I said, I'm not sure if the show will last. I don't know how the show could go on, how long the show could go on either, if they want to just make a couple seasons, or long, like Breaking Bad or Walking Dead or one of those. But, that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, really enjoyed this premiere. Really looking forward to the next episode. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for Bates Motel. So, see you then. Bye.